What's up and welcome to the Level Health Podcast. Today, Josh is interviewing Dianne Bailey. Dianne is an author, certified Tai Chi instructor, 4th degree black belt, functional aging specialist, and certified strength and conditioning coach. Big thanks to Dianne for coming on our show. Be sure to check out her website, taichisystem.com, or her YouTube channel, Open the Door to Tai Chi. We'll have those linked in the description below. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
I actually saw you on Functional Aging Institute's newsletter today, and we were actually also on that. So it was a nice little surprise. I was like, oh, we're doing a podcast today. That's funny.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great, though. I mean, I saw that you, of course, have a certification. I'd love to talk through them. I'd love to talk about that quite a bit today because this is a topic that I have had zero experience in, but I think I'm going to have some tendency, like potentially, to get certified and learn more about it in the future because I understand the importance of just movement. And oftentimes, as fitness people do, we tend to think that means, hitting a gym, doing cardio,
Right.
the typical fitness stuff, but there's so much more outside of that people can dip into. So before we get started on the questions though, Dianne, if you don't mind, can you give us some background on who you are and why you do what you do?
Yeah. I've been in the fitness industry I've been a professional for 20 years, but I actually I've always been avid exercising, but I started in the martial arts. When my older son was 8, he wanted to become a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And so I took him to the local Taekwondo school, and I had a choice. I could either sit and watch him do, or I could participate in the class that was going on in the back, which was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. And so that's where I started, was BJJ. And that was in 1994. So
long before it was popular. It seems like it's become
Right.
kind of in vogue right now, but
Right.
yeah, that's interesting. You were in it a long time before that.
Right. It was me and a bunch of guys rolling around on the floor. And my husband was really okay with it, which is awesome. And then I got my 4th degree black belt, and I was teaching Taekwondo. I was teaching kickboxing. I learned Krav Maga. I tried Tai Chi, and at first I didn't really like it because it was so slow. But I persevered with it, and now I know that it has really helped my body continue to do the harder things that I love to do. It gives me a good balance of exercise.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm 61. I know the aging process. I'm experiencing it. And I know that Tai Chi has really helped me with that.
You mentioned that you didn't like it at first because it was slow, and I think that kind of hints at some of the underlying principles behind it, and that might be a good way to kind of start introducing this, because I know that most people listen to us are fitness professionals. We probably want to hear like breaking it down in terms of like programming, just the thoughts and considerations that go into what is kind of just the nuts and bolts of Tai Chi.
That's a great question, because you can't get the benefits of Tai Chi if you're just doing the movements. You have to understand the underlying principles, and that's where the benefits start to accrue, is understanding those principles. And those principles are things like understanding what we call your substantial and insubstantial, which is really your weight shift of where is your weight at all times. An example, if you think about regular walking, regular running, it's really controlled falling. You watch a runner, and if that foot doesn't go down, they're going to face plant, right? It's controlled falling. In Tai Chi, we don't have that. We know where our weight is, and we choose to move forward, or we choose to move backward. We're always in a state of understanding where our balance point is. Moving from the dantian, that sounds like a really funny French word, but it's not. Dantian is 2 inches in from your belly button and 2 inches down. It's the center of your energy in Tai Chi. But if you think of it from an exercise point of view, it's also the center of your balance, right? So understanding your substantial and insubstantial, moving from your Dantian, all of this helps you with being more balanced, being rooted and grounded, understanding where your feet are at all times, feeling the ground, getting that information from the ground, again, helps you be more balanced. And all of these things can be translated to other exercises, right? Yeah. What sport do you not need, in what sport do you not need to be more balanced, right? Every sport can be improved by you being more balanced, right? Golf, tennis, whatever it is you love to do, even ping pong. But those are just some of the underlying principles. Breathing is also a very big one. Understanding your breath control, understanding your posture, keeping what we call your columns intact, which is really, if you think about shoulders in harmony with your hips, that kind of movement can also be translated to your everyday movement. Because if you think about people and you just sit, just go to a mall and watch people walk, they lead with their heads or, right? It's terrible. They're either looking down at the floor or their head is coming first. That's a terrible posture. Whereas in Tai Chi, we practice keeping everything in harmony, which helps people with their posture.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned what sport does it not help you with, but I think that from even a more practical perspective, what functions in your daily life would that not help you with? Because again, a lot of the issues become, and I'm seeing this more and more as I'm working with more seniors and the aging population, is just not becoming aware of your movement, not becoming aware of where you are in space. And it kind of just seems to me that is, I mean, there are lots of layers that we're kind of going to get to, but that mindfulness aspect seems to be a massive, massive piece of how this is providing benefit to people. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. And you're so right that practicing mindful movement helps you in your everyday world. I did a series on balance, and that communication from your head to your toes is actually very, very important to keep you balanced. So yes, that mindfulness, it's also not only good for things like balance and movement, but it's also good for your brain. Tai Chi is wonderful for improving the function of your brain, because you do have to have mindful movement. You do have to understand these principles and apply them as you're moving, which is really a dual task. It's a cognitive task and it's a physical task. And that dual tasking is wonderful for improving your executive functioning.
How have you found, because this is kind of not necessarily a newer concept, but the idea that our brains are much more plastic than we had thought, and that this kind of movement can be very, very enriching from just a neurophysiological perspective. Have you found that you can communicate that with people? Because it's kind of difficult, especially because we live in such a now society. We want our results right away. We want to be able to see things and measure them right off the bat. But this is something that, again, you have to accept as kind of a practice for a period of time. Have you found a way to kind of communicate this to make it a little easier to buy into?
With your point of having to practice and having to do is actually one of the benefits I see of Tai Chi, that it's not just a one-time balance class or a one-time improve your brain class. If you want to keep your brain healthy and young, if you want to keep yourself balanced, you have to continually practice it. And that's one of the benefits of Tai Chi, is that it is a lifelong practice. So it's beneficial in the fact that it keeps people going and it keeps people doing, and it does keep them practicing. As far as actual brain improvement, we still have people that believe that doing crossword puzzles is going to be the best thing for their brain. But as long as we as fitness professionals can continue to get the word out that really brain improvement is your best brain improvement is going to come from combining a physical and a mental exercise, being mindful in your movement, not just mindlessly, walking on a treadmill, but having to actually stimulate the brain and have it be in the moment with what you're doing. And that, again, is something we do in Tai Chi a lot. So I do promote that, talking to my clients, talking to the trainers that I train to do Tai Chi, that we have to be getting the word out that your physical exercise is not only good for your body, but it is good for your brain. It's actually good for your emotional state as well.
Absolutely, and to some degree, the modality can be really not necessarily interchangeable, but up to personal preference. I talk quite a bit about natural bodybuilding and the bodybuilding process, the muscle building process, also being it's a little bit more slippery slope for people than I think Tai Chi is, but it absolutely can be a very meditative practice, and I think we have this kind of rigid idea of what meditation is. It needs to be this sit down, nothing in your brain for a period of time. But like you said, these kind of movement, this kind of exercise that's also cognitively stimulating, I think is really crucial for people going forward.
Right. And there are people like me that I cannot sit still and meditate. Tai Chi is called movement meditation. And it's proven to improve your brain functioning. It's proven to lower your stress and anxiety. And part of that is coming from the movement meditation part of Tai Chi.
And it seems to me also a big underlying principle of a lot of this is that breath work. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the breath piece, the actual, the respiration component, but also before we move on from the athlete stuff, because I don't consider myself an athlete, so I don't dip into that realm like the strength and conditioning too much. But it was interesting to me that stacking the columns.
Columns, yes.
So of course that just kind of makes me think of the chakras for meditation and everything like that. So there's so many underlying kind of ideas across many modalities, but also within the strength and conditioning space, something I think that's a little bit more in that realm is the supple leopard, the idea of stacking your rib cage and your pelvis and how that aligns your spine. And I don't like using that phrase, but puts you in an optimal position to exert force and transfer force and things like that. So it really doesn't. Again, I don't think that you can separate conscious, intentional, mindful movement from any of these athletic endeavors. I think it really can be a bedrock, a foundation of it.
Absolutely. It makes me laugh sometimes that people get weirded out by talking about energy, which Tai Chi does talk about energy. And the number one thing I say to people is, okay, without energy, there is no life. So there is energy. And how many times do we as strength and conditioning coaches talk about ground reactive force, right? Using the ground, using that energy. It's the same thing that we're talking about in Tai Chi. There's nothing woo-woo about talking about energy. We need to be able to use that energy to move in an optimal way. And so there's a lot of crossover with strength and conditioning and Tai Chi. You're right, as far as, stacking and being able to use the force, understanding the ground, understanding that communication with the ground. We just say it differently in Tai Chi.
What is that? Where does that hesitation come from? Is it just our culture? Is it just an aversion to anything that can't be really quantified? Where do you think that's coming from?
Sometimes it's a reaction of culture that we don't talk about it that way. Sometimes it's a reaction of people think that Tai Chi is a religion, and it's not. There's totally, I'm a Christian. I don't think that there's anything that I do that is counter to what my religion that Christ teaches. So to me, it's understanding the body, it's understanding being able to talk in different ways. And as a fitness professional, that should be encouraging to people, because you know that you can say the same thing over and over and over again and your client doesn't get it. If you can find a different way to say it, it might just connect in their brain, and that helps them be better. It helps them be healthier. And isn't that what we're trying to do? Is we're trying to help people be as healthy as they can be. So having lots of tools in your toolbox, including Tai Chi, is the best way to be able to help people.
Absolutely. And I think the toolbox metaphor, I think, is important, is kind of key there, because it's not to say that you dip into, you get some education in Tai Chi, that you then are a Tai Chi instructor and that's what you do. Like, you can pull pieces from that, pull pieces from
Yes.
whatever works from all these different modalities, and incorporate them into just a general exercise regimen. Just understand, not even, you may not even use it, but every now and again you may run into a client where that is going to provide them benefit, and you have an understanding enough to, or at the very least know where to look for further resources on how to engage them, and how to help them. So kind of on that note, actually, how would it be best, I'm sure there isn't a best way with this, but to incorporate Tai Chi into just a normal fitness regimen?
That for an individual, perhaps doing Tai Chi as an active rest day is actually a really good way to do it, because it does balance out. If you're going hard and fast all the time, your body starts to break down. You can't do that. And the fitness industry is guilty of, we want to go harder, faster. Everything is where your body actually needs to relax. So active rest is great with Tai Chi. You can use Tai Chi as a cool down after your harder session of working out. Tai Chi is actually proven to bring your body into the parasympathetic side, which is what a cool down is supposed to do, right? Taking you from that harder workout, bring you back into the normal state. That to me is a great way to use it. As a fitness, like I own my own studio here, I use it in my personal training sessions, even with my clients who don't do the Tai Chi with me. I teach Tai Chi classes, but I use it in my training sessions because, like I mentioned, sometimes just the cue of bring your weight all the way over onto one column, keep your shoulders in harmony with your hips. It improves people's balance almost immediately, and they don't even know they're doing Tai Chi. That's okay. I'm okay with that, right? So you can use Tai Chi in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it seems like that's interesting. I've noticed over the course of my training career that learning certain cues can make a world of difference, and oftentimes it's a mental cue, it's a cognitive cue. It's not even an actual tangible, like, move your feet. It's think about this while you're doing it. And I was wondering, it definitely seems like Tai Chi would potentially set you up to have a much bigger repertoire of those. So I was wondering, are there any other just examples of cues that you pull from Tai Chi and use in just general resistance training exercise?
What the example that I use a lot with is, if you use something like a Bosu trainer and you're trying to do lunges and somebody's all off balance, telling them, about their columns, telling them about their weight shift, allowing them, this is something we say, instead of substantial and insubstantial, we say empty and full. And I say, fill up this one side. Let the right side be empty. Now put that leg forward onto that Bosu, and they're all of a sudden much more balanced. So empty and full is a language that we use a lot in Tai Chi that you can use in your personal training. Moving This is one. We often talk about our core, right, in fitness, right? And if you talk about this whole shoulders in harmony with your hips, and then moving from the center of that, that helps keep your shoulders in harmony with your hips instead of leading from the shoulders, right? Again, that helps people be more balanced and move in a more optimal way.
Yes, that I think that's very being able to pull those cues is crucial in just trying them out over time. So I'll
Mhm.
definitely be looking to that kind of stuff. Have you seen the public's perception of Tai Chi? Because I know that you mentioned they thought it was a religion, potentially a cult, I'm sure at some point. But
Sure.
was has it opened up more? Just generally our opinion.
Yes, slowly but surely. Um, it's it's kind of a fight where, yes, because of the research. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I would say that Tai Chi is one of the most researched forms of exercise. There's thousands of research studies on how the benefits of Tai Chi. So doctors are starting to notice this, physical therapists, the medical community in general, they are recommending Tai Chi. Now, the fight that I talked about is the martial arts community, which remember I'm a member of. The martial arts community has held Tai Chi very tightly and tried to keep it very mysterious. And they make you think that you have to travel to China and study this deep martial art for years and years before you can ever teach it. And so that limits the number of instructors, right? And that's a disservice to the people who really need Tai Chi. Um, so the fight that I see in bringing Tai Chi to the, opening it up to the general population is we need more instructors. We need more people to be actually teaching it and letting people know you can get the benefits of being more balanced, of stress relief, of improving your brain, of improving your sleep quality. All of these things can happen with Tai Chi as an exercise. It does not have to be a lifestyle. It does not have, you don't have to become a Taoist. You can get the benefits. And that's part of, my mission with Open the Door to Tai Chi is I want to bring more instructors out to the people who really need it.
I think that's very important because there's certainly a line to walk, and it seems like the martial arts community has stayed way on one side of that line, where it's trying to protect Tai Chi from just becoming this thing, this popular fad for a little while. You'll see next thing you know, there's going to be hot Tai Chi and there's going to be goat Tai Chi and everything like that. But I understand that hesitancy. But you're right, it is, I think, a disservice, especially because there it really is still a barrier to the fitness industry, the fitness space at large for the aging population. Because, like we've talked about before, the fitness space likes to go a little bit too crazy. We want to go, everything needs to be this very grueling and sometimes masochistic endeavor. And so that's very off-putting to this population, and rightly so, honestly. And something that we like to try to get across quite a bit is that fitness can be something that's very empowering and enjoyable for you, but it doesn't have to be this absolutely grueling thing like that. So that makes sense. I mean, I was wondering though, why is Tai Chi so researched? Is it just because it's something that's easily you can replicate it very quickly? You can put people in a class, and a lot of people can have a large sample. Why is it unique among like exercise research?
I think because of the benefits that people see, that
Mm.
even in general population, but in cancer patients, in heart disease patients, in aging population, the people are more uh, more flexible. They're more easily adaptable to movement. They're more balanced. Um, I think it's because there are so many benefits to this exercise that's why researchers are going, why is it so good? Where is it really so good? Or are these benefits just, being touted? So I think that's, the research is out there. It's amazing when you find, you just type in Tai Chi and boom, you've got thousands of reading studies to to get through.
As somebody who made the decision to leave college about 80% of the way to my biology degree, I appreciate the scientific process a little bit more than I would. I definitely, actually, a lot more than I did before. So it's great to see something stand up to the actual rigor of continued and replicated research. Um, so just to put a nice little sound clip here, what are some of the, just off the top of your head, some of the medical benefits that that are associated with a Tai Chi practice?
The benefit of being more balanced in your movement is huge, and that has been researched a lot. Gait improvement, which obviously dovetails into your balance improvement. Lowering blood pressure, which is obviously related to heart disease. Lowering stress and anxiety, which also dovetails into that lowering blood pressure. Improvement in brain functioning, which surprisingly, one of the studies is improving your brain function actually improves your balance and your gait. All of these things start to come together, which is very important.
Yeah, I don't think that you can, a lot of times it doesn't seem that you can separate many of these. Like you said, there's these pillars, and then there's all of these downstream effects. Like that right out the first one, the improved balance and ability to walk without falling. That of course has all kinds of benefits that you wouldn't even imagine in terms of just freedom as you continue to age.
That is true. And that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up, Josh, that being able to move in a confident way and not be afraid of falling gives people independence, and it allows them to continue to do the things they love to do. And I have a story of a lady that she took Tai Chi with me, and she was hiking with her husband. I live in Colorado. They're called the Rocky Mountains for a reason. They're very rocky. And she was not feeling good in her hike. And she was hiking with her husband, not feeling good. And then she goes, all of a sudden, I thought of my Tai Chi. I thought about my columns. I thought about my substantial and insubstantial. And she goes, all of a sudden, I was moving with ease and I was able to relax and enjoy the hike. So that gives people back enjoyment of their life. It allows them to continue to do the things they love to do.
Yeah, and how, I mean, across the space, there's professionals in every little niche, and it seems like they have a lot of the same missions and goals, honestly, for the fitness space to just be a little better in the future and actually be able to help people through, whatever your chosen modality is. My very last question for you, Dianne, this is something that we've kind of talked about just over and over again throughout this podcast, though. But how do you feel that the fitness industry, you've had quite a bit of unique experience, honestly, in the fitness industry. So how do you feel that the industry can improve just overall?
I would like to see, I would like to see us open up instead of focusing so much on being bodybuilders of external physical looks to being people builders of, almost like Tai Chi is an internal martial art. There's external martial arts such as Kung Fu, Karate, Taekwondo. Those are all external. Tai Chi is an internal martial art. I would like to see the fitness industry start to consider that internal side of what we do. Of there are a lot of people who the external look is not really what they're going for. They're going for a better life. They're going for being able to enjoy what they love to do, whether that's traveling, whether that's being a better tennis player, a better skier, that it could be just playing with their grandkids. That those goals are our clients' goals. And we need to open up and embrace those goals instead of placing our own ideas of, well, your waist can be smaller and your legs can be stronger. And, I see that a lot. When I first started in as a personal trainer, my original company was martial arts conditioning, and because I was in the martial arts, I was focused on martial artists. And then I looked out over the fitness industry, and it was a lot like a Logan's Run kind of attitude, that if you're young and fit, you're welcome. But if you're not really taken care of. And in fact, you're kind of discarded. So I started to see that, and I thought, there's a whole lot of people outside of young and fit that really need fitness. And that's why I embraced the whole aging population, training the aging population, and bringing Tai Chi to them, all of that, because I felt like there are a lot of people that need fitness that the fitness industry is just kind of discarded.
Absolutely. And that's something that we've talked quite a bit on this podcast. I mean, speaking with Dr. Dianne and Dr. Cody Seib from FAI, it's not only is it an intelligent business idea, because I mean, as a personal trainer, I'm sure that it's not the millennials, it's not the 20, 30-year-olds that are buying personal training anyways. So separate from that, if we can take a step back and be like, okay, are we in the fitness space to help people, or are we in the fitness space to stoke our own ego and become popular and develop a social media following and get plenty of likes and comments and all that good stuff? But what is the actual impact that you're having down the road from that? And that's absolutely something that we definitely need to be taking into consideration a lot more than I think that we do.
I like that point, Josh. It's why I do this, is I want to help people be the best they can be. And I feel like Tai Chi is an important piece of the puzzle. I don't feel like it's the entire puzzle. I absolutely value strength training, cardiovascular training. We all need that. I would never say that Tai Chi is the only thing, but it is an important piece of the puzzle, that really training your body to relax, training to breathe deeply, all of that, training your brain to be in harmony with what you're doing, being mindful, all of that can benefit you in ways that you don't even realize.
Absolutely. Fitness in general can benefit you in ways that you can realize. But again, it comes down to a landing or finding a professional that helps you along that journey, because sometimes that's not the case. But all right, Dan, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anywhere that you wanted to send anybody? I will link to wherever you'd like, and we'll put plenty of info in our description. But is there anyone where you wanted to point people?
TaiChiSystem.com has some information on both, if you're just interested in learning some Tai Chi. I have a video membership site that has lots of videos that you can learn in your own home. You can learn at your own time. And then it also has information on, if you're interested in becoming certified to become a teacher, to really understand Tai Chi. Remember, you don't have to drop everything and just become a Tai Chi instructor, but it's an added tool in your toolbox. So TaiChiSystem.com, it gives you, as a consumer or as an instructor, it gives you lots more information.
Wonderful, Dianne. We'll send people that way. Thank you very much for joining me today, and have a good rest of your afternoon.
All right. Thank you, Josh. You too.